the first base hit of the night.
Significantly more difficult for him, at least as a minor leaguer, and Danny Santana hits a line drive to right field. Jones tries to cut it off. It is a stand-up leadoff triple.
Third time through the order. This ball hit high in the air. Deep out to right field. Springer is back, and it is gone.
Despite bouncing around Minnesota and Atlanta following the breakout rookie campaign in 2014, Danny Santana regained his footing in 2019 and discovered a power stroke. Once a slap-hitting speedster, Santana has bulked up with the rest of the league while continuing to become a threat on the base paths. Coupled with flexible positional eligibility and large part to playing literally all over the diamond, and the power speed threat Santana now possesses could very well make him fantasy baseball's most valuable multi-positional option in 2020. But first, a disclaimer. We do need to discuss the elephant in the room before I jump into any other fun stuff. There's a serious caveat in Santana's game which could absolutely cripple him next season, and there's simply no way of dancing around it. Danny Santana has zero plate discipline. Of all the qualified hitters in baseball a season ago, Santana had the third lowest walk per K ratio. Of all the hitters in baseball who had at least 350 plate appearances in 2019, he's ranked 7th. That's the bottom 99th percentile out of 241 players. And it's not like Santana put a ton of balls in play either. A below average contact rate mixed with a terrible chase rate and swinging strike percentage amounted to a strikeout rate teetering around 30%. It is very, very hard to bat 280 when almost a third of your plate appearances go down on strikes. What's worse is that a majority of these figures are career worsts for Santana. I needed to get a firm grasp on the degree to which he's fallen off, which led me to a heat maps comparison. You are going to see an overlay of his whiffs per swing from all of his major league seasons except for 2018, where he only managed 32 plate appearances. If you look carefully enough in some spots, you'll see some stagnation between his earlier seasons and some regression on certain edges of the plate, specifically those covering pitches thrown outside of the strike zone. Once we get to 2019, Santana has seemingly given up on discerning balls and strikes altogether, chasing everything and hoping for the best. In his 12 years of professional baseball, Santana has done absolutely nothing to improve his plate discipline, which, in this day and age, is more than enough for his numbers to seesaw in 2020 and his initial ADP to read bust all over it. For those who remember my deep dive on Adalberto Mondesi, walk per K was a driving factor of my research, and despite his dynamic skill set, Mondesi needed to either maintain or continue to bolster his batted ball skills in order to offset his shortcomings. He did neither, and besides stolen bases, his numbers suffered a great deal. I say this now to warn fantasy owners looking at Santana as a cheap infield, outfield option in most leagues. The data I've just presented is very sticky, and barring a drastic change in approach, is influential enough to taint his degree of success in the future. Sometimes, in order to get to the good, we have to dissect the bad as much as possible. His price tag is still mighty fine at this point in time, but you've been warned, there's a lingering possibility you won't even get half of what you paid for.
1-1. Out to the gap, right center field, it is down, and it'll roll to the wall. That'll tie the game. Santana hits this ball high in the air, deep out to right field, and that one is gone.
In the spirit of optimism, taking a glass-half-full approach with Santana is still very feasible as his batted ball profile is rock solid. A quantum leap in launch angle and barrels between 2017 and 2018 carried it over last season, resulting in a surge in line drives, fly balls, and hard hits all together. His 43.6% hard hit rate via Baseball Savant represents a 20-point boost between now and his 2015 campaign, a far cry from his insane surge in other batted ball peripherals. Peek even deeper under the hood, and this sudden explosion of power numbers starts to become more and more legitimate. Santana's fly balls will hit hard and hit far, with an average exit velocity of 95 miles per hour and an average distance of 337 feet, figures tied with and or besting the marks of Yordan Alvarez, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, and Matt Olson. If you narrow those down to just as well hit fly balls, then his average mark of 388 feet is sandwiched between an elite list of familiar faces. Santana was also plenty elite with other batted ball types. His slugging percentage on line drives, for example, was 1,052, only 10 points higher than his expected value. With Santana having only hit 40.2% of his batted balls on the ground, a 14-point decrease from his last semi-full season back in 2017, outfielders were often busy trying to contain him as he scorched line drives consistently and was privy to driving the ball in the air with authority. To provoke an even clearer idea of how much of a struggle that became, here's a heat map breaking down his isolated power. Even despite many failed attempts to chase outside the strike zone, Santana absolutely made his contact count when he got something he can get a hold of, driving everything with above average pop, especially anything offered downstairs. All of this bolstered yet another very important statistic for Santana last season, his weighted on-base average on well-hit balls. Since he's so poor at producing consistent contact, every batted ball event matters, and in 2019, his propensity to lift the ball as much as possible played to his advantage with an 892 rated on base average on well-hit balls, a figure that had him ranked in the top 86th percentile of all hitters.
Santana swings first pitch, and he rips one. Yes, sir! Into the upper porch.
Santana out to center field. It's got to get down.
The last figure I'll leave with you is his numbers against various pitch types, and this is to emphasize a bit further that Santana's 180-degree turnaround is more sweeping than you would initially imagine. Not only did he gratuitously conquer his 5-year drought with fastballs, but he also did exceptional damage against breaking pitches with a 514 slugging percentage, aided by a 90.2 miles per hour average exit velocity and a 14-degree average launch angle. Given that he still grades well above average in the speed department, I think it's fair to predict anywhere in the range of 15 to 25 stolen bases for next season. Obviously, either side of the spectrum would make him an awesome value if he could at least manage to be 80% of what he was in 2019, but again, that's a big if. Drafting Danny Santana is not as big of a gamble as you think, at least not in this point in time. Yahoo.com, for example, currently has him listed 177th in their top 300 player rankings, which would spell highway robbery for many fantasy owners if he continues to deliver the goods from a year ago. With eligibility at every position besides catcher, owners could seek out top value picks early on and slide him into any inherent area of weakness as the late rounds close in. Of course, this could all mean nothing in the long run if his strikeout woes overcome him, but his price is not nearly as high as the vast majority of other 2020 candidates from 2019. Santana just might be worth betting on, if not because of his enticing new wave of power, then simply because he's relatively affordable. What do you think about Danny Santana as a boom or bust Swiss Army knife? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives as we inch closer to the new season. If you didn't like this video or felt that what I provided here wasn't very informative, give it a thumbs down and maybe tell me what I did wrong or what I should focus on in the future. As always, big shout outs to Fangraphs.com, BaseballSavant.com, and BooksBaseball.net for the rich, in-depth data that becomes the driving force of these videos. And another shout out to MLB.com for all the footage laid before you. This is J-Mart signing off. God bless you all, and enjoy the rest of your day.